Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of boat maintenance for the end of the season on the Yamaha. Got a few things we're going to do. We're going to change the oil. We're going to change the anodes, both the engine and the pump anodes. To start off with though, we're going to do a little bit of an engine flush. I don't think I really need it, but it should help warm up the engines to make the oil flow just a little bit easier as we drain it out. Let's get into it. Okay, so I got pretty much everything that I'm gonna need here on the back of the boat. We've got our oil, we've got our oil filters. We also have a little bit of Yamaha shield and engine fogging fluid to finish this off. And then we have our oil pump that we're gonna use to pump the oil out with. And then we have here our engine anodes and then our pump anodes. I got all of this from Jet Boat Pilot, which is a great online shop for purchasing anything jet boat wise. This is not sponsored at all. They're just a great shop. I've bought a bunch of things from them. Additional marine mat. I've got my new numbers on the boat from them. Like I'm saying, this isn't a sponsored video, but I've bought a lot of things from Jet Boat Pilot in the past, and they've been great to work with. They've been great to order things from. Their owner is always on the jet boat forums, on Facebook and other online forums, providing helpful information to people. So he's a great supporter of the boating community. And so if my small, very small channel here gives them any additional visibility, I'm all for it. When I bought this boat, it came with a maintenance plan. And so the first few years of maintenance, I took it to the dealer to have them handle the maintenance, and that was mostly oil changes. This last time they did the oil change as well as the spark plugs, which should happen every 2 years. And so since I just had the spark plugs changed the beginning of this year, I'm not going to change the spark plugs today. We're just going to be doing the oil change. The maintenance plan ran out on that, and the dealer charges a lot of money to do an oil change and some spark plugs. Way too much. It takes a lot of time for me to get the boat there. So there was an earlier video of me hauling the boat up there. It's a good hour drive to take the boat there, an hour drive to drive home, and then another hour to go back up there and pick it up. So I'm spending about 4 hours just to take it up there. If it takes less than 4 hours to do oil change and spark plugs, which I think it should, then it makes sense for me to just do it myself, especially with the cost. So supplies, I spent probably less than $100 for all the supplies that I got today to do the oil change and the anode swap out from Jet Boat Pilot. So that's why I'm doing this myself. Okay, so for flushing procedure on these Yamaha engines, you need this little port adapter, and it's really useful to have a little knob on your hose that you can turn on and off, so I can turn the water off. Because I actually want to, you need to, it's not that I want to, you need to start the engines first and then turn on the water. And then when you're done, turn off the water and then turn off the engine. So the engines are going to run for a few seconds without any water. That's fine. They're not going to overheat in a few seconds. But it's important procedure to make sure that you can turn your water on and off before and after you enable the engine. So connect this, turn on the engine, turn on the water, and then when you're done, reverse that, turn off the water, turn off the engine. So, went through the procedure, started the engine, started the water. We can see the water flushing out of the engine, and we can see a little bit of water coming out of the pisser as well. All right, so here's my engine bay, and our process is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be, if you watched my oil change video for the Jeep, it's going to be basically the same. I'm going to pull out the dipstick here. I'm going to put a tube down it from my oil pump, and we're just going to suck out the oil. No, what the fuck? All right, well, That may have been worst possible scenario for this. On this oil pump, I got to look at this a little bit more. I'm going to take it down, figure out what happened. But for some reason, the blower is full of oil. And so where it should be just expelling air out, it blew oil all over the seat. So cleaned it up. It's fine. Nothing got stained. All right. So I think what happened was this is the vent where it vents out air as it's creating vacuum when you pump it. And I think probably last time I took this and got it dumped, I do remember it falling in the Jeep. And so I suspect that when it fell, some oil fell up into that airline. And so when I pumped it for the first time, it was basically purging that oil out of the airline and all over the boat. Fortunately, cleaned it all up. I think we're good. So a little bit of a lesson learned. Pay attention to these guys. Have some rags available. They may blow oil out. And I think even as I'm pumping it up here, I'll probably be keeping an rag sort of about here just to keep sure no more oil blows out there. Okay, so we've pumped it up a bunch. We've got vacuum pressure inside of the canister. It is pumping oil. I can see the tube is full of oil. It's actually heavy. And so this is a little bit slow. It'll take a little while. I'm not gonna record all of this. Oh no, I got branches literally flying in my engine bay. It's windy out, and these 1,000 pine trees that I got around my house just let stuff blow in everywhere. Which is super awesome. I'm kind of always cleaning up pine needles around here. All right, so we'll let this engine go. Next thing we're gonna do, we will, when this is empty of oil, we will pull off the oil filter. All right, and the oil filter's right here. I already kind of spun it off a little bit, but we're gonna spin it off. I'm not gonna record this because I'm gonna grab a rag and make sure I don't spill any oil down there. Just make it cleaner so I don't have to clean it up, but it'll just spin right off like that. And because I don't have a large enough vacuum tank to hold all the oil for both engines, we're just going to drain this out into my other oil container real quick so we can drain out the other engine. And now that our fluid evacuator is empty, we can actually start pumping out the oil from our second engine before we actually put the oil filter back on the first one, just to make things go a little bit faster. In the new oil, the specs for this engine is 3.57 quarts, 3.5 quarts about, and I've got a gallon, so I'm going to drain most of this gallon container in there, and then we will check the dipstick and check levels and stuff. All right, that feels like maybe half a quart left. Put just a little bit more in here. The entire time I've been doing this, filling this up, changing the oil filter, etc., the other engine has been pumping out oil. So the pumping out process is a little slow. It is good to occasionally I'll give it a little bit more pressure. And she is pumping, though. I can see it, oil flowing through the tube. So this is all working exactly as planned. Let's talk about the anodes a little bit. I recorded everything I was doing with the oil change. I already did the anode swap out because it was a little bit frustrating and I just wanted to get it done, and so I didn't record it. But I'm gonna take a little time now and go back over the process of, first of all, what an anode is, and then where they're located in the engine, particularly because those were hard to figure out where they're at, and then it's hard to get at. And so I'll kind of step through the process of what I did to get those replaced. But first, let's talk about what an anode is. Okay, this diagram describes a battery because an anode is a component in a battery. So in a battery, you have an anode and you have a cathode, you have a negative terminal and you have a positive terminal. And how a battery works is inside the battery, your anode, which in a lot of cases is zinc, and on this boat there's zinc plates, is giving up electrons. And when it's doing that, it's oxidizing. So the zinc ions, or it's giving up zinc ions, and your cathode's giving up oxygen and hydrogen ions, and that is creating oxidization. And as the electrons are then going across here, that is creating your electrical current. So how does this, why are we calling the same thing an anode on the boat? Well, the exact same thing is happening. It's the exact same process. So on the boat, or you have this in underground tanks that you don't want rust, anything that you don't want to rust or oxidize, you can put things called sacrificial anodes on there. And so in the boat, my engine or my metal pumps are effectively the cathode, and the anodes basically get bolted on there. And the anode is giving up electrons, it's going over to the cathode. And instead of an electrolyte solution, we've just got water. So it's the water that the boat is sitting in. And what happens is your anode oxidizes instead of your cathode. So this is really just like causing your anodes to oxidize and disintegrate, because it's a metal that is more reactive, and it protects your engine, or in this case, or your engine pumps, or your tank of metal that you've got buried under the ground. So let's take a quick look at what my anodes looked like down under the bottom of the boat. And this right here is our sacrificial anode. This is a zinc plate. These ones are brand new. They've been bolted on. But the idea is these prevent oxidation from everything else in here. And you can see there is a little bit of oxidation that happens here. It's not 100% perfect, but without these, it would be significantly more oxidation going on. Now, I am in fresh water. This boat's never in salt water, so that also prevents some of the oxidation from getting too bad. But these guys are right here. Replacing these was incredibly easy. Remove these two bolts right here, and this little bracket will come off, and then you can remove these. These have some bolts on the back. So at first I thought I could just unscrew these, and the bolts in the back were just spinning. So removing these two takes off the bracket, and then you remove these, swap it out. One thing to keep in mind, this is asymmetrical. So this backside is a little bit thicker than the front side. So you do have to orientate these on the right way. Otherwise, these bolts won't fit in here. I found that out by accidentally putting it on backwards once, because I just thought they were symmetrical. So these anodes mounted to the pump were super easy to replace. I basically sat here just like I'm sitting right here with a Allen wrench and took them out, and it took 5 or 10 minutes. It was very, very easy. Anybody could do that. But let's get into the engine anodes and where those guys live at, because they were hard to find at first, and then they were hard to actually replace as well. Wait. Quick, brief interlude before we actually go and we take a look at the engine anodes. These are the anodes that had been removed off of the pumps. So you can see they're very crusty and have actually oxidized quite a bit. I think these still have some life in them, but figured why not just go ahead and replace them. Also, I wasn't sure what the engine anodes would look like, so we'll take a look at those here now. Okay, so these are the two anodes that I removed from the engine, and honestly, they're in really good shape. So I think this is a result of them not, this engine not being in salt water ever. These guys really lasted a lot longer than I thought they would. But I didn't want to take a chance that these had been completely oxidized and then stop performing their job. So this being a 2018, it's effectively 7 years old, 7 seasons of use at this point. I thought, it's a good idea to just pull them out. Let's get them swapped out and just take care of that maintenance. Some of the descriptions of where these lived at, where the anodes are installed at, seemed incorrect. There was talk of them being on the exhaust side. They're not. They're definitely on the intake side. So from this view, that would be the left-hand side is on the intake, and they're at the very back. So I'm going to try and do two things. I'm going to try and just like stand the camera up here, and I'm going to get in view, and I'm going to point to sort of where they're at and how I access them. So that's what we're going to do first, and then I'm going to try and get the camera back here so you can actually see them as well. To get to the anodes, I was really kind of laying on the engine cover like this. I'm not going to do it right now. And you can see where my hand is. I was having to wrench at them right back down here. They are down at the very back of the engine. And my finger is touching it right here. So this being your intake side, And this intake bracket really blocks your ability to get these. So you need to have a wrench that is you're not able to move your wrench very far back there when you've got it on there. So I'm going to try and get a good shot of the anode in here from looking above so that you can see what to look for when you're doing it. So you're going to have to basically lay over the top of the engines like that and get your wrench in there. Camera view from above the engines, and I'm going to come down over the top, and you're really looking down into the back of the engine here. And I'll try and like, man, I can't even tell if I'm capturing this correctly. Okay, so right there. So I actually removed this hose to make it a little easier to get at. This is hose coming off the very back of the engine here. And then I could put my wrench right down here and remove the bolt from the anode. Fortunately, once I removed tension on the bolt, I was able to spin it out by my fingers, and that was it. So that is the location of the anode, and we'll back out. You can kind of see it in reverse here. So it is way back in there. And again, you kind of have to lay on the engine to really get at it. So you may want to put some covers over that, but that is how to get at your anodes. One thing, at the beginning of the video, I did talk about fogging the engine. I think I'm gonna hold off doing that just a little bit longer. I'm just holding out hope that maybe I can get the boat out one more time this season. So I don't want to kind of fog the engines, which would be sort of the last thing I do prepping it for winter. So for now, I'm just gonna put the cover on it, and then maybe in a couple of weeks, I'll fog the engines and disconnect the batteries. But for now, I think we're done. So if you're still watching, thank you for watching. This is just a simple maintenance video. Hopefully it'll help some people. If anybody's looking for where their anode is at on their boat, hopefully this helps you find it and replace it, and maybe you'll learn something about what an anode is and how they work and why you need to replace them. So like and subscribe if you're still watching. Appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one.